Hi, today we'll be working on this original DMG Game Boy. We'll be installing the backlight with the divert module. This is very cheap mod, and it's certainly not as good as, let's say, this one, which I did a while ago. This is IPS screen, and I'll put the link somewhere here. But this one is quite expensive. It's not difficult. It's just a couple of wires and yeah, some modification of the case, unless you buy a new case, but then it's even more expensive. This one is probably the best mod ever you can do to the Game Boy. If you pick one mod, just do this. But the backlight mod gives you really good results, and it's very cheap. So what you'll need obviously the backlight. This is the kit that I bought at Hunted Legend, I believe. I'll post the link somewhere in the description. So they will give you the backlight panel, the polarizer, and the two wires that you will need. You'll need, yeah, Hunted Legend. You'll need this divert module, and that's pretty much it. I'll also be installing this lens because, first of all, this one is scratched and not pretty, falls off, so I'll need to clean this old glue and I'll replace the lens. But again, the goal of this is to install this backlight. It's not hard. The install itself is not hard. The problem is that we'll need to take off the back polarizer. So we'll go through that. I'll show you that. Yeah, it's again, it's slightly different than this IPS kit, because IPS is just a modern screen and it doesn't give you that kind of original feel of this screen. This is like kind of blurry. I don't know how to, you know, what's the right word for that, but it has some characteristics that can't be replicated on modern IPS screen. But again, it's with the backlight it makes it a lot better. So let's take a look at this one. I think this one works. It has a little bit of corrosion right there, so I need to clean that. But I don't think it got to the board, so it's not so bad. Let me put some batteries in. And the screen fell off, obviously. So put the game there. And let's power it on. Yeah, it does work. That flickering of the screen is obviously not the Game Boy, it's the recording setup that I have. So it does work. It has sound. The buttons work, I think. Well, you need to press real hard, but I think they do work. Yeah. So it looks like this one is working, so I'll take it apart and we'll go ahead and start doing the modifications. Again, it's not that hard. The trickiest part will be removing this polarizer, but I'm pretty sure we can do this. One more thing before we start disassembling this. These kits, if you buy them today, I think, at least where I bought them, they will come with these tiny resistors here. If you don't have those resistors in your kit, you will need to solder 100 ohm resistor. That's the only difference. So yeah, but preferably get one that has these tiny resistors on this side. Okay, so to disassemble the thing, there's 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'll need this tri-wing screwdriver. So now when you open it up, you'll see that there's ribbon cable in there. So all you need to do is to lift the cover up, and then just pull this one from here. Just don't push too hard or pull too hard, but it will come off fairly easy. So we'll set this aside for the moment. We'll be installing the divert chip or divert module right here in this place, but for now we'll put this aside and we'll focus on this one. So again, we'll need to take this out, and yeah, these are Phillips screws, and there's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I believe. But yeah, just take those out, and then you can try and gently take this out. It's there is some glue or adhesive, so try just bending it. Don't go too hard on it. Did I remove all the screws? I think I did. Yes, I did. So it should come off fairly easy. Still something. There. So it's off. And again, I'll put this aside. By the way, I'll be cleaning all this because it was kind of dirty. So I'll be cleaning this off, including the buttons and everything. Just don't lose those. So we'll need to focus. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is just dirt. I think this speaker will work fine. So obviously we'll need to take out this screen. To take out this screen, we'll need to do a few things, and we'll need to use a soldering iron and go under the microscope. Probably don't need microscope, but I like to do that under the microscope. It's a lot easier for me. So the screen itself is in this plastic bracket, and it's held by a few screws. So these two screws, we'll need to take them off. We'll need to take off this, let me grab something there. So this kind of bracket, or whatever it is, clip. So to take this one off, we need to just straighten them up, just like that. It's just like big staple, and on one side it's soldered on this side right here. So we'll need to desolder that, but on this side it's not soldered at all, so we can just push it out just like that with your finger or pliers or whatever you have there. So it's out on this side, and we'll need to pull it out on this side. So I'll get my soldering iron and we'll do it right now. So I'll use a bit of flux just to make things easier. And I'll heat it up. Try to do it with one hand. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but let's go ahead and try and do this. Just be careful not to melt this not to melt this ribbon cable. So keep this part, because we'll need this when we'll be reassembling this device. Now I'll take off these two screws. So now this screen is essentially, we can kind of fold it in that way, because there's a ribbon cable here, obviously, this one, and it's soldered here. But there is another one that's soldered behind or under this screen. But we need to lift the screen to kind of uncover it. So what I'll do, what I do with this, I just desolder this ribbon cable first, and to do that I'm using the low melt solder. Chip quick or any low melt solder will do. So I'll kind of go over those with low melt solder, and it will essentially just pop off. So I'll switch to the microscope and we'll do this one, then we'll remove the screen and we'll do the other one. Okay, so we are under the microscope. As you can see, this is the first ribbon cable, this one right here. As you can see, it's kind of soldered on onto these pins, and this is what we need to be careful about, because these are very fragile. I mean, this one here, this one, this one, this one, this one, and so on. So what I'll use, again, I'll use a tiny bit of low melt solder. This is probably too much, but anyway, it'll do. I'll just add some flux first. This always makes soldering easier. Don't need much. And I'll use a spudger or something that I can kind of push under, and I'll keep the pressure on while applying low melt solder, and this will just again pop off. I'll just keep pushing it as I go along, and this will come off. So let's start and do that now. Just be careful with low melt solder, because it will melt pretty much instantly. Don't go crazy with your temperature with the soldering iron. I mean, yeah, don't melt this ribbon cable. So I'll apply low melt solder there, and again be careful, because it will melt instantly and will make a lot of mess. As you can see, I have a let me turn on my fume extractor first. So apply low melt solder. Don't even touch the this ribbon cable, the connector. Just go over it. As you can see, I'm just gently applying a little bit of pressure here and there, and just comes off very, very easily. To add some solder onto this one. Oops, that's not something I wanted to do. So let's continue. I think it's off already. It is, yeah. So this connector, as you can see, or the ribbon cable, is off completely. We didn't damage any pins, as you can see, they're all there. Obviously the low melt solder left a lot of mess, which we'll need to clean off, but we'll take care of that later. So what I'll do now, I'll focus on the other ribbon cable, and again it's under the screen, so you need to take the screen, pop the screen out. So what I'll do, I'll just push this screen from this side, from the left hand side there. I'll just use some plastic spudger and try and lift it. So just lift the screen up from left to right, and I'll do it off camera. So the screen is up, as you can see. I lifted it up. Now you need, and as you can see, there's that second connector or ribbon cable, and you need to be careful about this cable, ribbon cable, this side right here, and that is the part that attaches to the screen right there. So you need to be careful about this. So yeah, and again, I think there should be second screw here, but it's not on mine here. If you have two screws, remove both of these. There's the other one, so I'll remove this one, and we'll do the same thing. We'll remove this this connector here. As you can see, these pins here, they don't align perfectly, but there you can see those. So I'll remove this screw, and we'll desolder this this connector. So again, I'll grab a little bit of low melt solder again, but first I'll apply flux. So again, I'll come with this spudger or whatever you have, it'll work, and just repeat exact same steps as we did before. So I have a little bit less of this, of the low melt solder here. I think it might be enough actually. As you can see, it melts instantly. So let's go ahead and apply that to those pins. As you can see, it comes off and is off. So the whole screen is off right now, and we have some cleaning to do. I'll put the screen aside for the moment, and we need to clean this off. So just use the desoldering braid, and it should work. Just like that. So this one's clean. Now this one, the first one that we did, and I'll also remove solder from here where that that bracket was. And let me just use new wick. That should do it. I'll clean everything off. So clean the flux, make it nice and clean. This one's done. Let's clean this second one, and we'll do the same thing here. Okay, so this is done. So we'll put this aside for the moment, and we'll need to do the same thing here. So we need to clean this mess off. What I do, I just take this silicone thing, put it under the connector or the ribbon cable, add some flux, and again with this with the cleaning of this, you need to be careful again, because as you can see, these pins or whatever, these are very fragile. This is just a little piece of copper, I believe, or some metal, and it's not protected with anything, so be really careful. Don't go, I'll show you in a minute, don't go when you're cleaning it, just go in this direction, so like that. Don't go across, don't do it like that, because you'll bend those pins. So this one's clean, as you can see. Let's do the other one. And again, with this other one, be careful with that ribbon cable, because it's fragile and it can be fixed. Again, I have a video, if you look at my channel, how to fix these ribbon cables, but it's tricky and it's risky essentially. So make sure you don't make a mess of this ribbon cable. So again, add some flux. And let's repeat exact same thing. So also don't hold the wick or the iron too long on this, just enough to take the solder off. And the wick will take this low melt solder fairly easily. So again, just a few touches and we are done. So I'll switch back to the camera and we'll continue working on this screen. Okay, so we have the screen out with these ribbon cables clean and all that. And again, just to emphasize, be careful with this ribbon cable especially. Well, be careful with both of those, but this is fragile because it has like two connections. One is right here, or 2 points where it can fail, right here, and the other obviously is in here on this side of the screen. So be careful with it. So our goal now is to, by the way, keep this, you might need this. our goal is to remove this polarizer, because again this is kind of reflective and it's not it doesn't let the light through. So if we put our backlight on this side, obviously it won't work because this will not let the light through, so we'll need to take it off. And to take it off, I use this. This is the contraption that I made for Game Boy Pocket screens. It works best for the pockets, but it also works for this one. So, and again, I have a video, I'll link it somewhere here, where you can see it in action on Game Boy Pocket. But you need to be a little bit more careful with this one on Game Boy or DMG screen, but it'll work. And the main reason I use this is because I can keep this cable kind of aside. So now, to take this off, I'm going to use a scalpel and go very gently from one side. Just stick the scalpel underneath and just go for as long as you can kind of comfortably grab this piece of polarizer and start peeling it off. I know you can't see this, but as you can see, I have this off. And just make sure you pull the kind of both parts, because there's that reflective thingy and underneath is the polarizer. So make sure you pull kind of both of these. And again, don't push too hard on this screen because it will break. And that's done. As you can see, we have some leftovers, so this has to be cleaned. The screen has to be kind of perfect, so I'll clean this off. Just use IPA or whatever kind of. I also use something that's called I can't remember. I'll put the name of that in the description. But again, just clean it off carefully and make sure it's clean. There's no spots of the glue. So I'll do that off screen and I'll come back. Just by the way, if you have lots of glue left, you will have that issue mostly on the screens that are burned, or the polarizers that are burned. They leave a lot of stuff. So I have this plastic kind of tool that I use. As you can see, it once you add a little bit of IPA, it comes off very easily. So you can do that as well. So the screen is now clean, at least on this side, and we'll take it out from here. I'll just make sure, I'll just clean it off on the other side so that I'm 100% sure it's clean on both sides. So I'll just clean it off on this side as well. So the screen is clean on both sides. There is a little bit of kind of dirt on this side, but I'll clean this off later. So I'll put it back in this bracket and I'll show you what we'll do next. So again, this part goes underneath, not like that obviously, so I'll just flip it like that. So it goes like that, goes in like that. So we'll keep it open for the moment because we'll start soldering this this ribbon cable onto this connector or these pins. So I'll switch back to the microscope and we'll solder this back on. What I'll do first, I'll put this the screw first, so it's easier to solder. So we'll put the screen back in here, and again, be careful. I'll put the screw back in so it holds this in place. So this should do it. And again, we'll take a better look under the microscope. So I'll switch to the microscope again, and we solder this back on. Now use the kind of regular leaded solder to that. Don't use the low melt solder to solder this connector back. So back at the microscope, as you can see, we are aligned pretty much perfectly. So what I'll do, I'll just push on it on this side and go over these pins with a leaded solder, but I'll add some flux obviously first. So let's add some flux. And again, don't go crazy with flux, but yeah, it always helps. So with a little bit of flux, and we'll use just regular leaded solder, and I'll switch my fume extractor on. So what I do, I just add a little bit of solder onto the tip of my soldering iron, and just touch up on this one here. I need more. And on this end here. So once these two are secure, you can go and just go over the rest of those. Just make sure there's enough solder and that these are soldered to the back of the board. And again, if you make a breach or something like that, don't worry, you can clean this off easily. It's probably best to keep this board in some sort of holder because it's kind of moving, which doesn't make this job any easier. But okay, so we have solder on it, so I can now hold it and go over those again. Just to make sure they are soldered. And we should be good. So that's this side done. Obviously I need to clean this off as usual. So this side is done. I'll flip the screen back in position, and I'll solder this side as well. And we'll slide the backlight and the polarizer once it's all soldered. So let me go to this side and again try and align this ribbon cable so that this hole kind of matches the right here. Just like that. This should be okay. So again, I'll just add a little bit of solder to a few of those, and then let me just move it a little bit more, just like that. So again, I'll add a little bit of flux now. I don't want my finger to be covered with flux, so just like that. And actually, let me do it that way. So I'll push on it from just like that. So I'll try to align it, and then I'll push on it. That should be good. Okay. As you can see, don't worry about the any bridges or anything like that. You can clean it off if it's really bad, but most likely if you add flux, it will just kind of go away by itself. So as you can see here, we have way too much of it. So flux, clean soldering iron tip, more or less clean, and there you go. No bridges. Just go over it maybe once or twice, just to make sure all the pins make solid kind of connection. And that's it. We are done. So I'll clean this off. And what I'll do before I start working on the backlight, I'll put this clip back in. It's just to make just to kind of support this slightly better, because we'll be lifting the screen and the ribbon cable. So I'll put it back in. Actually, let me straighten it up so both sides go in place. So let me try and show you that. There, like that. So I'll do it off camera, just make sure that it sits there flush, and just like that. And I'm just wondering, I think I'll add that fresh solder on this side as well, just so it's kind of safe. Yeah, this tip is a little bit too small to hit the whole thing up. This clip is rather thick. Yeah, that's done. And again, let's clean this off. So we are done with soldering, and I'll switch back to the main camera and we'll keep working on the screen. Before we take care of the screen, we'll need to look at this connector and install the divert chip or module. So to do that, you'll need to lift pins number 6 and 7, I believe, and the easiest way to find it out is just to hold this chip, align it with this, with the these three, 1, 2, 3, with these 3 pins, and you'll see which, or sorry, with these 3 points, and you'll just see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 6th and 7th pin. I can see already that this, I need to trim this this pin here, because the module just doesn't fit. So I'll just go ahead and trim that a little bit, and I'll come back. Okay, so that's done now. So I just use pliers and flash cutters, sorry, and cut it off. So now it fits perfectly fine, as you can see there. So we just align it like that, and once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so I'll go. By the way, when it's there, when it sits there, you obviously need to solder those. You need to lift those 2 pins, solder them to those points on this module, and then also solder these 3 kind of anchor points. So we'll do all that on the microscope. By the way, sorry, I forgot. And then you'll need to solder ground, so this point here, to say this one or this one, doesn't really matter, to ground. This is obviously too long, so I'll trim it off again and solder that to this point. So we'll do all that under the microscope. So I'll switch to the microscope now. Okay, so pins, again, pins 6 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one here, and 7, this straight line there. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Yep. So what I'll do, I'll just grab my soldering iron. Also I'll add some flux first. Just a tiny bit, not too much. Just enough to make the solder flow. And with the soldering iron, I'll just stick one this under the pin and just heat it up. Just like that. So this one's lifted. It is, yeah. And now I should have started with this last one. It would have been a lot easier, but let's try and do it again. This one. Yeah, this one's free as well. Is it? Let me have a quick look. No, this one still isn't, so let's try it again. Just need to be careful not to damage it, but now it's up. Yeah, now it's free. So I'll lift them a little bit more so that the board fits under those. So that one's up. That one's up as well. And now I'll clean the area and we solder the module. But before we solder the module, I'll actually add some fresh solder to those anchor points. So let me just do it right now. So again, it's this one right here. It'll be easier to solder the module. Right there. This one. And which one was it? This one. Just like that. And while I'm at it, I'll also add some fresh solder to this ground point. This will take a while, because again this is ground and this tip is not huge, but it works. Okay, so let's fit the module. So again, it has to go under these two pins that we just bent. Let me so just like that. Just want to move it to the side just a tiny bit more, like that. There. So this should be good. Yeah. It doesn't really matter that much as long as you have the good placement of the pins, and as long as you can solder these anchor points. So I'll push on this one and I'll try and add some more solder to it. So that it anchors there. We'll add more solder in a minute. Just make sure it lays flat on the board. Just like that. There. And finally this one. That should be good. Now I'll push those pins down so that they are kind of flat on the board. And we should be good. that should be enough. Let's just clean it off and inspect that. So let's have a look. And there's some solder right there, but it's not touching. Clearly there's space between these two. This is soldered pretty good. Unfortunately, it would have been best if I had like kind of mini pliers so that I could bend this part down, but unfortunately I don't. This won't work. This will just bend, but it's fine. This side is okay. Let's have a look at this side. This side is okay too. So last thing we need to do is solder the ground point. So let me just trim this wire. I'll tin this part first. That should be enough. Let's go ahead and solder this wire. That should be good. Now let's solder it to, let me do it this way, just like that. And again, this will take some time before this solder melts. There, that's done. So the divert mod is installed. I'll just clean the remains of any flux. Okay, I'll probably position this somewhere here. Yeah, so that's perfect. So that's done. Again, divert module is installed. Let's focus on the screen now. So I'll switch back to my main camera. Okay, so this is our screen. It's again been cleaned and everything has been done. There's a few, well, there's one more thing that we need to do before placing this, which is we need to solder the two wires that came with the kit to these 2 points. Sorry, to these 2 points. So let's do it now. So I'll tin those points first, and then I'll just add those 2 wires. And again, plus will be red. Just make sure you keep that in mind. So let's tin those. And I should have turned on my fume extractor. That's okay. So that's done. Let's solder these wires now. This one's done. This one doesn't want to move to the position. There it is. So both are soldered in. So now let me just do one thing so that you can see, or we all can see what's happening. So the goal is to put this polarizer, sorry, this backlight polarizer, and stick it under this screen. But first things first, we need to know which direction. So if you look at this, actually, let me show you. You'll see it a lot better when we connect the thing. So do I have the batteries in? Probably not. So I'll just connect it to this bottom part. By the way, I've cleaned this already. So this is ready to go. Let's put the batteries in. It's ready to go as soon as we install the backlight and the polarizer. So I'll install it back in here. So you just push this ribbon cable in like that. I've cleaned the inside of this connector as well, so we shouldn't have absolutely any issues with this. So let's turn it on. You obviously won't see anything, but there is a red light here. You probably can't see it. So there. Obviously we won't see anything, but here's the thing. So what we are going to do now, we lift this gently, very gently. Let me grab my... just like that. And we slide, just as a test, we slide both of these in. Doesn't need to go like fully in. That should be enough. And I can tell already this is probably wrong orientation, because if we turn it on, see, everything is in reverse, and that's because we've installed the divert chip. So if I take this and put it back like that, obviously it's very dark because backlight is still not connected, but you see, this is the way it should go, clearly. So this polarizer needs to go in this direction. If we didn't have the divert, it would have gone this way. But again, so if you do want to do this mod, so just the backlight without the divert mod, that's how we do it. And again, the screen will be in reverse, but this will be installed in this in that well, direction. So what I'll do it off camera. I don't want to. It's very hard for me to have a clear look at this, so I'll just slide it in off camera. So I'll turn it off. So there's a plastic that you need to take off from this one. I don't think there's anything on the back, no. And then there's plastic on sorry, there's this like the plastic cover on both sides. So take those off, but then don't touch the polarizer. Once you take those, there you go. You can see this now. Once you take those off, these covers, just put it on this backlight, and obviously that way, and slide it in, and it will just sit there. The cables will be sticking out, and that's exactly what we need. Probably, if you can make these cables to get, there's enough space. There should be no problem with those cables. So I do it off camera, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, so the screen is installed. Sorry, not the screen, the backlight, obviously. So let's just quickly test that. Still powers on, and still good. I'm just wondering, did I put it in the right direction? Let's just test it quickly. So these wires go to this where this capacitor is soldered in. So this is minus, this is plus. This just to see is just there's a little kind of line. So this is the minus, the capacitor, I mean. So let's just do it quickly like that. Yeah, we are good. We're good. So the last thing that we need to do is to solder those in. These are very, very long, way too long, I would say. So I'll just trim them off so that this one goes right here. So I'll stick it under that, something like this maybe, and then this one will go directly there. So there's plenty of space, so you don't need to worry. You actually can like route them so that they'll work. But again, I'll trim them off, and I'll come back again. Okay, so the wires are trimmed. Now let's add some fresh solder to these 2 points where we'll be soldering those. So this one right here, and then this one. that should be enough. So let's, is it turned off? Yeah, it is. You don't want to work on kind of live device. So there's remains of the wire. I'll use this. They will let me hold it, grab to it slightly better. Actually, I'll solder this one first because it'll be on the way then, and I don't want to melt the other one. So plus will go first. Like that. And then this one. Right there. So everything's soldered in. Test. And as usual, the blinking that you can see is obviously not the screen, it's just the camera. So as you can see, works beautifully. And I can tell you already, you won't see it on the camera. It looks gorgeous. By the way, that's the first time I'm doing this backlight mod on DMG. I've always been installing the IPS screens, but I think this one is really worth doing, although there is quite a lot of work involved. So I'll put it back together. Don't forget about these screws, at least this one. I'm not sure if this one will... Yeah, so both of these screws, and then I'll put it all back together and I'll come back. Okay, so the device is, sorry for the mess, device is put back together. There's a lot of mess on this desk. The last thing that we need to do, all the screws are back in, everything is put together, is to put this, again, as I said, the lens. As I said, I won't be reusing this. This is scratched and doesn't really match this. So I got new one. I think this is just plastic, but the color, I'm not sure if you can see it, it matches exactly. It looks exactly the same. Very, I'd say, good quality. I know people are putting, and I think I put the glass one on my IPS screen, but I'll put this one on this Game Boy. So you need to make sure the screen is really clean. You need to make sure these edges are also clean, because otherwise it won't kind of lay flat, or it won't stick. So what I've used to remove this, I've used the same thing that I used to clean PCBs. It's called PCC15, I believe. Again, I'll put it in the description. I think it's mostly the IPA, but it has some additives that it just doesn't evaporate so quick. So I just kind of put some of it on that glue that was really hard, like this here. This is kind of hard, and it's really hard to remove without scratching the surface. So I put that on. I left it for like 5 minutes, and then used this kind of scraper, and it works perfectly fine. So okay, again, I'll do it off camera because it's very hard for me to align it properly with the camera, and I'll come back when this is installed. Okay, so the device is put back together. By the way, in retrospect, use glass one. If you can buy glass one, use glass one, because this one, although it looks great, it's now, can you see this? And I just used this thing to kind of clean it, and there's like they are not visible. Like if you look at this screen, you can't see them, but yeah, there you go. Use glass one. So I'll take it apart later and install glass one. I'll just buy glass lens. But apart from that, let's install the game and turn it on. And again, don't worry about this pattern over the screen, this blinking. It's not fault of the screen. I can tell you that it just looks excellent. Looks so great. I didn't really expect it to look that great. Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure which I prefer. This has this original feel to it. Like, yeah, looks absolutely perfect. The buttons work perfectly fine. I will obviously clean the buttons and everything. So yeah, I mean, this is great. Honestly, I'm not really sure which one I'd prefer. I'll turn it off for the moment, but I'm not sure if I prefer this one or this one. This one obviously slightly, this is the IPS one that I did a few weeks ago, months ago. And this is glass, and as you can see, apart from the fingerprints, there's absolutely no scratches. This one, I just installed it and just cleaned it with this cloth, and it's, yeah, buy glass lens, not plastic. Anyway, honestly, I can't turn it on. Unfortunately, I only have one set of batteries, sorry. So, honestly, if you don't have money to buy this, because again, this is expensive, you get the Game Boy plus the IPS screen on top of that, plus the lens, plus you know, everything. Yeah, this will get very expensive. This one, on the other hand, is cheap. I'm not sure how much the divert and the backlight cost, but I guess about $10, 10 euros, something like that. And again, there's quite a lot of work with removing this polarizer. But apart from that, I think this is honestly a very nice mod. So yeah, I highly recommend backlight mod. I think I'll do another one. I have a few of those, well, several of those, but I think I'll have one more. I was thinking about installing the IPS, but now I think I'll actually install the backlight. So anyway, thanks for today. Please subscribe if you like my videos, and we'll do something else next time.